Well, for more on the crisis in South Korea now, I'm joined live by Monash University Professor Gil-Soo. Professor, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. Tell us, is it surprising that Yoon resisted this arrest?
Well, it's not surprising at all, and that is actually the way he has behaved, not only for the last 2.5 years on the presidency, but actually that is the way he has been conducting as news comes through. So he was actually putting himself always above the law and the prosecution as prosecution head. He was always just often manipulating and creating even some criminal activities which probably have not been committed by a lot of civilians and politicians, etc.
The arrest warrant for Yoon is valid until Monday. Do you think that officials will attempt to detain the president again before Monday at all?
I think the Joint Investigation Office will try at least once, maybe possibly twice. But of course, there's no guarantee the attempt will be successful. But they will try because there is a big public demand um, for his arrest.
We heard just briefly in that story earlier from a couple of members of the public, but do you know how the people in South Korea are feeling about this situation?
Of course, there is a clear division between the Yoon supporters and non-supporters. And the media often projects as if there is a kind of even distribution of the people on either side. But the ones who are backing up President Yoon is actually a minority, and possibly at the most 15 to 20%. I suppose they are not necessarily well informed about what has been going on in South Korean politics, but the majority of the people, say 70 or more percentage of South Koreans are actually concerned about the way he behaves. Although he has argued for law and order for his lifetime as a prosecution officer and also the head of prosecution office for the last quarter of the century. But when he is facing himself the arrest for his possible criminal activities, he is unable to cope and he is simply unable to digest the idea.
And in terms of North Korea, what do you think they'll be making of the crisis and instability going on there at the moment? Do you think they'll look to take advantage of this?
Well, interestingly, North Korea is the one South Koreans often think they are a threat, say, to take advantage of this kind of situation or even provoke for their own interest. But as we hear in the media, they are the ones not necessarily taking advantage of what's happening in South Korea, but actually, um, trying to endure and trying to persevere because they know something is wrong with South Korean politics, particularly President Yoon. It is actually surprising. And despite the heavy military drill near the borderline and also the drone being sent to the center of Pyongyang with leaflets, with some very attacking messages and balloons sent to North Korea by many civilians. But remarkably, North Korean regime has been actually resisting to take any action, but actually stay calm, and that surprises a lot of Koreans.
Yeah, it is quite surprising. Do you think that this could pose a threat to democracy at all in South Korea?
Well, it is certainly a threat for South Korean democracy, but I think considering the way they have been resilient in terms of the way they wanted to keep the democracy for the last 4 or 5 decades at least, although it is a trial, it is a testing period, I think things will uh, um, get over and they will be able to handle this. And although might take a little bit of time, but I think the situation will be stabilized, and the democracy is the one the majority of Koreans actually value, and many people have given their life. And this time, as you have probably been informed, especially the ones in their 20s and even teenagers and those are in their 30s, they have been of really seriously backing for the democracy. And I think it will be very difficult to calm down those spirit of democracy in South Korea.
All right, Professor Gil-Soo, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much.